It's July 13th, 2026. Welcome to the video, everybody. This footage right here, these are American precision munitions erasing Iran's air defenses, coastal radar sites, and IRGC patrol boats near the Strait of Hormuz. But this time, there's something in the water alongside these jets, alongside these drones that the United States military has never put in a fight before. And we're going to talk about these sea drones that were now a part of these attacks, likely striking multiple targets within the port themselves that maybe Iran thought they were hiding. No, enter the sea drones, could be surface sea drones, could be under the water sea drones like the Lamprey or other advanced drones that haven't exactly been released yet. But let's talk about the sequence of events here, because what just happened is wild. On July 12th, CENTCOM executed its fourth consecutive wave of strikes against Iran, and before the night was over, it had done something that no American military operation in history had ever done. It had launched one-way attack sea drones in combat. We're talking about kamikaze boats, autonomous, expendable, packed with explosives, nearly impossible to stop, likely traveling over 40 miles per hour straight into the IRGC's front door, right into their Mosquito fleet. Alongside these sea drones, likely Lucas aerial kamikaze drones, reverse engineered from Iran's own Shahed. Basically, these Lucas drones are the big middle finger, taking the shape of Iran's drones, just with better brains, better AI, and launching it right back at the IRGC. Also, F-18s blasting off the carrier and F-35s, all of this teaming up as a big orchestra strike package, executing that fourth wave, and it's basically left Iran shook. Iran's remaining radar operators likely had no clue this was coming based on the F-35 leading the charge as that stealth jet, and then teamed up with F-18s and F-16 CJs, which are harm shooters, basically tracking down the radar beam of these surface-to-air missiles, and that's why we're seeing so many of these just completely go bye-bye. Right there. Boom. Looks like surface-to-air missiles, potentially there, right there, ballistic missiles as well that Iran is also launching at its Gulf neighbors, at neighborhoods, by the way. They're trying to strike U.S. bases. They're trying to cause chaos in the region. That looked like a cruise missile right there that was hit. Wow. Absolutely taking the gloves off versus the Iranian regime. And we all kind of knew this was coming, right? But here's some breaking news as well. Just came out about 30 minutes ago. President Trump said, we're taking over the strait. They have nothing. They've got nothing. When asked about Iran's claims to have closed the critical waterway, which Iran is saying that they have for the last few days, even though they're getting absolutely lit up. So here's what President Trump went on to say. So we're just going to hit them very hard, and we're going to keep the strait, and we'll probably run it. The president later added, we'll become the guardian of the strait. Maybe we'll call it the guardian angel of the strait, and we should be reimbursed for that. We guarded it for nothing, and now we're going to guard it. We're going to get paid for guarding it. I love this. This is basically taking the gloves off, showing the IRGC, we gave you a shot. We gave you a chance to negotiate. Now the U.S. is going to own the Strait of Hormuz. And that's the way to go. I think it's a great way to move forward, because it's telling these mullahs in no uncertain terms that now someone with a backbone is in charge of the Strait of Hormuz. And you can't just be the mafia bosses that you've been all along for the last 47 years. While all this is happening, though, there's some wild things going on. Iranian state media is running front page news with a headline, and I'm quoting this directly. It says, "Get ready for sudden death," with President Trump and Lindsey Graham's picture. Iran's IRGC declared the strait our territory, and then Trump gave that answer in no uncertain terms that, no, Iran, you got your shot. You had your chance. This is no longer your territory. And I hope that the U.S. military just continually takes the glove off, especially against the IRGC in the Strait of Hormuz. No safe quarter for the IRGC anywhere in or around the Strait of Hormuz. All the islands, all the different choke points, all the naval bases. Again, you can't win everything with air power, but what you can do is potentially control the Strait of Hormuz. You can't necessarily get full regime change with just air power. You would need an insurgency or a ground invasion. But when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, if you just absolutely decimate all those different targets, this is something that I've studied for almost a decade in classified U.S. vaults. It's really got to come down to hammering the Strait of Hormuz itself. And then stay for the global roundup, my friends. We've got some wild hot topics going on today. We're going to cover Senator Lindsey Graham, rest in peace. He is deceased at 71. We're going to talk about some mystery airstrikes that nobody is claiming, no one knows who it was, that happened after the third wave of U.S. strikes. And then Ukraine sunk 90 Russian ships. And then there's a UFO ring cam. Someone caught something wild on their ring cam in California, and we gotta cover it because it's insane. This is a snapshot of it, but we'll watch the full video during the roundup section. And then there's a journalist who's exposing $190 million in fraud tied to a sitting New York senator. That's all coming in the global roundup section. But first, the sea drones. So Iran basically brought their mosquito fleet, and then the US brought a bug zapper, but in this case, the bug zapper was an unmanned advanced sea drone. So we cover the latest breaking topics here, and you guys have probably learned that most people are flying without a target. No mission brief, no checklist, no debrief, just winging it and hoping something works. But here's the truth. The highest performing people on the planet operate exactly like fighter pilots. That's what I've learned. They know their target, they build the skills to hit it, and they debrief ruthlessly to get there. So I spent a decade studying, living the life, and teaching fighter pilot leadership skills. I've taken everything that I've learned and I've built it into a course inside my school community, and it's called Take Command. When you join my school community, you're gonna walk away knowing exactly what your target is, the specific skills you need to hit it, and the daily disciplines that actually move the needle. Not just motivation, not hype. It's a real system that works under pressure, and I'm living proof that it actually works. And I wanted to give that gift to you. That's why I created this school community. So whether you're building a business, leading a team, or just trying to get your own life on track, this changes how you operate. There's a 7-day free trial, no risk. Come on in, go through the courses, and if it doesn't change how you think and change your life for the better, you're free to go. But I truly believe that it will. So click that link in the description. I know you'll get a ton of value out of this school community, and it's a place for us to connect. There's going to be a weekly call where we all get to connect and talk about leadership strategies and tactics straight from the mindset of fighter pilots. Here's what actually happened. So if we rewind and we look at all what's gone on over the last week or so, we know that the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, it gave Iran an option. It gave them an off-ramp, something that they didn't end up taking. They looked like they were going to take it with Ghalibaf, the parliamentary speaker, basically saying they agreed to it and then walking that back. We saw him walk that back just yesterday, saying that they had the option to direct ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and their definition of directing ships in the Strait of Hormuz was launching Shahed drones into the bridge and into the engine room, literally killing a mariner. So they're basically gaslighting and extorting the world, saying that their definition of escorting ships in the Strait of Hormuz means they can attack a ship if it doesn't go through the exact route that they want. And I think that's why the move this morning from the administration to say, okay, Iran, you had your shot. You had your chance to actually control some parts of how the Strait of Hormuz would evolve, but now you've shown that you're not the adult in the room. You're going to act like little mafia boss babies, and you're going to strike innocent mariners who are just trying to make a living. So at this point, this international waterway needs an adult to step in. Enter CENTCOM. Enter the U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy, Marines, and Army, and Space Force. Space Force, don't worry. I got you. I'll never forget you. Enter CENTCOM. CENTCOM is now the adult that's in charge of the room. So Iran's like, hey, we're helping you by sending a Shahed drone through the bridge of your ship. And CENTCOM's like, hey, hold my JDAM, watch this. We're going to help you out as well, Iran, by striking your coastal radar sites that you're using to strike and kill innocent mariners. So again, a little bit of tit for tat, and I like it. It's basically like fighting fire with water. And CENTCOM's the biggest firefighters in the entire world at this point. So Iran said they closed the Strait of Hormuz and they own it. CENTCOM basically just showed up with a receipt that had 300 plus Iranian targets on it. Yeah, you're going to want to hold on to that, Iran. But now let's talk about the weapons that were delivered during especially this fourth strike package, because the package that hit Iran last night is unlike anything ever assembled in this theater. It's like the Avengers assembling, but in this case, it's advanced drones, sea drones, and AI brains all teaming up and high-fiving each other. Here's the multi-domain targeting chain that CENTCOM just validated live in combat. First, let's talk about the aerial piece. We know we've got the fighter jets, the F-16s, the harm shooters that can take down surface-to-air missiles, but enter also the Lucas drone, low-cost, uncrewed combat attack system built by Arizona-based Spectre Works at $35,000 a unit. $35K For reference, a single IRGC patrol boat could cost multiple millions for some of the larger ones. The Lucas is reverse engineered from Iran's own Shahed 136. That's that same Delta Wing kamikaze drone that Russia has been using to hammer Ukrainian cities for years. CENTCOM said it out loud when it first flew in February. These low-cost drones modeled after Iran's Shahed drones are now delivering American-made retribution. There you go. That thing carries roughly 18 kilograms of explosives. It launches from literal combat ships, including the USS Santa Barbara, and flies autonomously. Santa Barbara, what a beautiful town, by the way. I love that beach. There's no human in the loop on these things. So the individual targeting decisions can be made prior, but they're likely made all with AI. So think about a suppression of enemy air defenses package. Instead of risking manned fighters in highly contested airspace, these Lucas drones could be what we're seeing strike multiple of these targets. And then also enter Shield AI XBAT. That thing's got a hive mind AI brain that allows it to talk to multiple drones in the theater, talk to manned fighter jets. It's got the ability to then coordinate with all the different spectrum of warfare, from the Aegis system in the Navy to F-35s, F-22s, teaming up, basically being the mini wingmen of the F-22s, F-35s, going up and striking whatever it needs to with onboard weapons. When it comes to what's going on underneath the surface, that's the real hero of this story. The first ever use in American combat. CENTCOM has kept the manufacturer classified so far, but hats off, whoever you are out there that built this, amazing. Defense analysts and former Pacific Command intelligence officers are pointing to fleet-class unmanned surface vessels as the most operationally suitable candidate for this strike itself. There's also underwater options, which we'll get to in a second, but these are designed for mine countermeasure operations, adapted for one-way attack, over 40 miles per hour, and nearly impossible for an IRGC boat to intercept before impact. But that could now be used as these kamikaze attack boats going right into Bandar Abbas. We've all looked at Bandar Abbas. We've seen the way that Iran tries to hide their submarines, their fast attack craft. So now there's no hiding. There's no quarter. 6 manufacturers have been evaluated by the Pentagon: Saronic Technologies, Martok, Blue Ops, Sierra Nevada, U-Force, plus some undisclosed others. Saronic's Corsair USV is already operating in the Strait under Task Force 59. That's the boat we just talked about, rescued the downed Apache pilots. But the concept here is identical to what Ukraine's Sea Baby drones have been doing to Russia's Black Sea fleet. Fast, sacrificial, and absolutely devastating. And then you layer this on top with the fighter jets. Basically, this is a nice little wedding cake for Iran. It's like, hey, Golubov, welcome. Now we're getting married. The U.S. is now going to own the Strait of Hormuz. You can own the inland side. So I guess we got married and now there's a divorce, and we're going to go ahead and keep the Strait of Hormuz. Here's a divorce cake though. So we're giving a divorce cake to Iran, and it happens to be layered with F-18s, F-35s, and F-16 Wild Weasels running suppression of enemy air defenses. And then you team it up with those advanced aerial drones, you team it up with those surface sea drones, and then under the water enter the lamprey. I've been talking about this for months. If there was a fleet of these lampreys operating with an AI brain underneath the ocean, in the Persian Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz, I truly feel like this would be an amazing advancement for the US to control the Strait of Hormuz. Have a multi-fleet of these lampreys underneath the water, lurking, ready to go at all times, teamed up, watching and monitoring Iran, striking their fast attack boats if needed, striking the different places along the coastline where they've actually built caves to house exactly what they're using to harass the Strait of Hormuz. You made it to the Global Roundup, my friend, so we got a lot to cover here. Senator Lindsey Graham, unfortunately, has passed away. Rest in peace. He's an Air Force veteran, 5-term senator, one of the loudest voices for the war effort that's actually keeping Iran in check right now. So rest in peace, Lindsey. You will be missed. And then there was a series of mysterious airstrikes that hit Iran on July 10th after CENTCOM said it had already concluded its package. Nobody claimed responsibility. Iran's parliament warned that UAE would pay the price for having a behind-the-scenes role. I mean, they've said that for months now. Oh, and then check out this ring cam. They basically caught a UFO on this ring cam, and it is just wild when you see the way this thing moves and spins. Whoa! I mean, that is just crazy seeing this happen. I've actually heard of friends though talk to me about seeing UFOs like this before in neighborhoods. So it's pretty wild that this is going on. What do you guys think it is? Let me know. And then also journalist Nick Shirley actually just uncovered $190 million in fraud going on in New York City. It looks like New York's mayor, the socialist communist mayor Mandami, isn't investigating the fraud, and Nick Shirley is the one who's helping pin down exactly what's going on. So definitely we got to protect Nick Shirley as he exposes this fraud and tries to hold fraudsters accountable. $190 million in fraud uncovered so far, and that was just in a day. And you made it to the 40 Chess strategic analysis section, my friends. So let's think about what Iran is saying publicly. They want to establish legal and operational control over the Strait of Hormuz. The June MOU, it left it a little vague, but Iran believed that best efforts to ensure safe passage meant ships must coordinate with Tehran before transiting, effectively giving the Islamic Republic a toll booth on 20% of the world's oil supply. So that's likely the only reason they signed the MOU, because they thought they could keep extorting everyone around the world. And that's not what the intent of it was. The intent of it was for them to be a normal country, come along, come into the fold. They would get mega rich anyways with all that import and export. But Iran's mullahs in the Strait of Hormuz, I'm telling you guys, these generals that are down there in the Strait of Hormuz that are basically in control of the leadership in Tehran, they're basically scum. They're absolute scum. They've absolutely extorted their country for decades. They've acted like terrorists on their own people, and now they're just trying to extort the world, and they want to extort you, and they want to extort me. That's what they do. So it's great to see that now